Right, we're going to do some cooking today, and it's for Holly's school projects today. So you've got a couple of bits of homework you've got to do, haven't you? What's one of the things you've got to do, Holly?
Make a lighthouse.
And what's the other thing you've got to do?
Make a chocolate cake.
That's right. So we thought we would try and combine the two things, and we're going to try and make a chocolate cake lighthouse. So that should be interesting. So the first thing we need to do is need to put the oven on, and that needs to go on at 160. So I shall do that because it's a bit difficult for you to do that. So we'll put that on there.
And it's dangerous for children to do it.
That's right. So that's now on. And so the next thing we've got to do is we've got to get a tin that we're going to do our cakes with.
Yeah.
So what we've decided to do to make it easy is we're going to make what they're called
tray bake.
Tray bake, that's right. So that will then mean we can have pieces that we can then cut out from that to build our lighthouse with.
Yes.
So we're actually not going to make one cake, we're going to make 3. We're going to do this 3 times over to get enough pieces, because obviously you don't get a lot out of a tin. So first thing Holly's going to do is going to make get a piece of paper to line the bottom of the tin. And we've got some baking paper in there. So we're going to lay that out. And if we put the tin on top, then hopefully, if I get a pencil, Holly can draw around the bottom of the tin so that we can then cut out the shape for the bottom of the tin. So we can do that. Reach for that. Yeah. We'll try and get a bit closer if we can. Let's come around the side. Try and get a bit closer, otherwise it won't be anywhere near the thing, will it? Here we go. Keep close to the tin. Thank you. I'll just do that one because it's a bit too far away from you. Right, there we go. So then we've got a shape there that we can cut out. So get rid of the tin a minute. And then I'm going to grab the scissors now. Are you going to do the cutting, Holly?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do, just to make it easy, hang on a sec, I'll just cut this piece off so you haven't got the whole thing to do. There we go. And then I'll give you the scissors. You can carefully cut out the shape. So let's go for the innermost line that we've got there, okay? And you can cut slightly on the, sort of to the inside of it. On that side, yeah. That's it, so cut that through. By the time we do the third one of these, you're going to be really good at it. If we take that piece right off there we go, get rid of that piece. There we go, if we cut along that line, keep close to the line. Okay, turn that piece off so we get rid of that. There we go, cut down there. Go on, you're doing well. Keep it coming. Good, take that bit off. Right, and we're going to do this line here, quite the closest one. Get rid of those bits. Okay, I'm just going to trim that little bit there because that went slightly big there. Just to get that a little bit closer.
Because I'm not that good at chocolate.
You just got to practice, and as I said, time you've done the third one of these, you're going to be perfect at it.
Yeah.
If it's a bit too big, then it's not going to really fit in the tin, so just sort that corner out. It's the only corner where you had a problem. Right, lovely, that will do. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to get a little bit of some of our marge that we're going to be using today. So I've got a nice new tub of that here. And what I'm going to get you to do is just get a little piece of the paper that we just threw away, and you can take that and then just dip that in the marge. Get a little bit of that on there. And then what we're going to do is just like smear that all over the bottom and the sides of your tin. So we're going to grease it nicely.
And also in the background, the noise is just Mummy and Katie. isn't it?
Can't really hear then.
No.
That's it, get the sides as well.
Yeah. Get this bit. Get a bit more mud.
That should do, I think, honey. Okay, just give me that. Just make sure it's
Got marky fingers now.
heavy. I'll give you a piece of paper to work your fingers on then. Just go over here. Okay, you can work your fingers on there. Okay, so we just need to get our piece of paper that we had, and we're going to use it so that the side that rolls up underneath, so it will then go flat. We're going to lay that into the bottom of our tin. That way you'll find out how well you did with your cutting. It looks pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Covers that pretty nicely, so we've got that as a liner in the bottom. Now we can put the tin aside for now because we don't need that again until we've done our cooking now.
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing we need to do is to get some cocoa powder.
Cocoa powder.
We need some scales.
Yeah.
And a bowl to put this in. And switch them on, and it says that we are going to need 50 grams. So that's got grams on there, and we need to get it up to 50. So, as cocoa powder is quite a messy thing. Okay, there we go. I shall pour it, and you tell me when we get to the 50. All right?
Is it all one?
Just keep watching the thing. So it's a 5 and a 0. 5, 50. What have we got so far?
4, 5.
Keep going. Let's see how we're doing.
10, 12.
We getting anywhere near it yet?
Nearly. Five.
50. Excellent, so we got that. Right, so we'll put the cocoa out of the way for the moment. Once we're done with that one.
Yes.
Okay, so what it then says is, I'll take these off the scales a minute. What it then says is that you have to mix that up with some boiling water.
You're going to get
Add the boiling water, yeah, and you've got to mix it until smooth. So what we'll do is we'll get our normal mixing bowl and our whisk, and we'll pour that into here. Like that. Okay. Put that over there out the way, and we'll just smash that up, make sure that's all nicely broken up. I think it's pretty good, but it's fine. But that'll go when we add in the water anyway. So what we need to do is to get some water. So I'll get that from over here. Have boiled the kettle already, so that'll take a second. And it says that we're going to need 6 tablespoons of boiling water. So this is a proper measure that measures in tablespoons, it says. So when the water's completely up to the top, level of the top, that's a whole tablespoon. And we need 6 of those. So you're going to do that in a second. I'm just going to get some boiling water in this cup. You need to be really careful because it's really hot water, so you don't want to go anywhere near the hot water itself. Okay, so we're going to count 6 spoons of boiling water into our bowl. Now careful because it's hot. No slopping it. Keep the spoon level. You've got a stool. Hop up on your stool. You can actually see what you're doing. That's it. Right, keep your spoon level. There we go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's it, isn't it? Right, okay, so we'll get rid of that for a moment.
Do I need to whisk it?
You can hop down again. You can hop over for stool. And we're going to mix this up so that it all gets into a nice smooth mixture in there, aren't we? And so you're gonna mix that?
Yeah.
Smells chocolatey.
I think we need a little bit more.
Let's have a look, shall we? It might just be that it's gone into a bit of a lump, so we'll just mix it properly and see if we can. It's just going to make a smooth, like it says a
Lump.
just says until smooth, doesn't it? So I think it's kind of making it something, because we're going to put something else in it which will soften it in a minute, but it's gathering it all up to the bowl. I should mention that we've not made this particular cake before, have we, Holly?
No.
So we don't really know how it's going to turn out, but we hope it's going to be that's good.
Yes.
So this is actually a Mary Berry recipe, so it should be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that looks quite a nice smooth mix actually. That's not too bad. Okay, so that's what we've got at the moment.
Actually turn out like that.
Well, I think when we add the next ingredient, that will help. So the next thing we've got to do is we've got to get our scales back again. And our bowl on.
Is it sugar?
No, it says next we've got to add in the marge next. So then for that we need 100 grams of the marge. So let me just get something to fill it with. Get a spoon. So do you want to put it in, or do you want me to put it in? Yeah. So we're going to make a big scoop, and we're going to pop it in the centre of the bowl. And we're looking when it comes off. You're looking for something that's going to say 100 on the scale. So what have we got so far?
49.
Okay, so we need a bit more yet, don't we? Pop that in the bowl. Oh,
87.
well done. Getting there, aren't we? A bit more then. Oh, too much.
Too much.
Nearly.
101.
Well done, so we're virtually there. There we go.
There we go.
100.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to transfer that into our main cooking bowl.
Yeah.
We'll pop that in there. And we'll keep that handy because we'll want that again in a minute. Okay, put that away. And we've got to now mix this up so that it'll make a nice smooth mixture. So that the marge should now help the chocolate soften, the chocolatey thing mix up. Okay, so let me get it started for you. Gather it all together. That's it. And there you go. And give that a really, really good mix. Eh?
It makes a funny noise, doesn't it?
Sloppy sort of noise, isn't it?
Yeah.
Try and give your whisk a bit of a tap and get the stuff all out of it. On the side of the bowl like this. Get it in.
Wow.
All out in the middle of the whisk, and then and you can mix it up again. Try and keep going. Mixy, mixy. You want all the marge to disappear from it and to see just all the chocolatey stuff and be all smooth. So you don't need to keep tapping it, just keep going.
Looks quite nice. I can't see any marge quite yet.
Do you want me to do a bit?
Yeah.
Okay, that's mixing in nicely.
Yeah. I like the sloppy noise.
Okay, that's looking quite good.
Yeah.
Okay, so next it says that we need some more ingredients to go into our bowl. So we get our scales back again.
Okay.
So the first thing we need to add in is some sugar, some caster sugar. So for that we need 275 grams of caster sugar. So it's 275 we're looking for now.
275. Okay, I'm looking out. 275. Not there. Hang on. Can't see. It's.
How are we doing?
Okay.
We're getting anywhere near 275 yet?
275.
Yay! Good, right, so we'll pour that one in. Okie doke.
Is it another mix?
No, not yet. We also, it says, need to carry on, we need to put some eggs in as well now. So
We need 1 egg.
We need
Three
three
eggs.
eggs, and they've got to be beaten before we put them in. So I'll move the scales out of the way for a moment. Okay, so let's get some eggs. Now, do you want me to break them into a cup, or you have me go? Yeah, I'll need to do that.
Before when I did it got all over my hands.
Expect it'll do the same for me, to be honest. Okay, so here we go. So we've got a cup, and we've got those. Will you quickly go and grab a fork out of the drawer for me, honey? Just a normal fork. I'll break the eggs into a cup for you.
Got a fork.
Okay, brilliant.
I'm gonna chomp
Yeah, we're going to jump it. We're going to beat the eggs, aren't we?
I know. I don't
Okay,
know
now just
why
go
I
careful
put
because it's fairly full, so give them a good mix up and smack them all up. Give them a good sort of whisk up now with the thing. That's it. Hold it tight.
How's that looking?
Really, yeah, give it a really good mix up. Like when you make one of your hot chocolates or something, give it a really good mix.
This is how I make my hot chocolate.
Yeah, that's good. That's what you want to do. Lovely.
How's it looking?
So it should do you. Okay, so we'll whiz that into the mix as well. Pour that all in. Great, and put that out of the way.
Okay.
Right, next thing on our list is we need some milk, and we need 125 mils
No.
or 4 fluid ounces of milk. Well, it's on this jug. It's easier to see the fluid ounces because there's a number 4 there, which is what we want. So we'll use that one. But you could guess where the 125 is between there, the 100 and 150 there. But we'll do it the 4 because that'll be a lot easier. So will you tell me when we get up to 4?
Okay. Stop.
Yeah, looks pretty good to me. Okay, so that's the milk, and we're going to pour that in the bowl as well, honey.
Okay.
Let's pour that all in, lovely. And then it says we need some flour. If I put the jug over here out the way so we don't knock it over. Okay, we need some flour. We get our scales back for the flour, won't we? And it's self-raising flour we need.
Still the big one.
That's fine.
I just got my
So we need some flour. So we need to get 175 grams of flour. So we need 175 of that. So tell me when we get to 175. Anywhere near there yet?
I think.
Nearly there, are we? Okay.
175.
Not quite there. 3.
3, 4, 5.
Excellent. Right, now the flour can go in the bowl as well. Pop the flour in the bowl as well, carefully.
Because flour does make a mess.
It can do, can't
Yeah.
it?
It's on my finger.
And then we need some baking powder after that. Now, baking powder, for that we need a teaspoon of that. And it just so happens that we've got some little packets that we bought from the shop which are actually a teaspoon equivalent in a whole packet. So we will tip a whole packet of that in.
Can I?
You can. There we go.
Da-dee-da.
Is that all in?
Yes. Mummy.
Good.
That's good.
Okay, so we'll get rid of that. And then we now need to carefully mix all this lot up. So we need to go a bit steady, otherwise it will go everywhere. We need to mix it all up. And we'll start off by doing it by hand, but if it doesn't look as though it's going to mix too well, then we'll grab the mixer and we'll do it with that, because we'll make sure it's really, really well mixed.
Because we like getting stuff really well mixed. What you? Oh yeah, that's the chocolate.
Put all the stuff in.
That's really getting hard now.
Want me to do it?
Yeah. How can you do it so easy?
Because I've done a lot of cooking before.
And I as well.
Okay, so give us a really good mixer.
Yes.
I do think I might get the mixer so we can get lots of air in it, because it's really important to get lots of air in it when we do it, because that's what makes the cake rise really, really well. It is mixing really well, actually. My assistant is grabbing our mixer, so that's useful.
That's just tasty for me.
Do you want to plug that in for me?
Yeah.
Push, 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 push. That's it. That's it. Okay, we'll put some
The actual mixes in.
whisks in the end, and then we'll take our manual
Looks out.
whisk out and put that on the side for the moment. And then we'll switch to using this, and this is quite noisy.
Yeah, I hate this noise.
Right, there we go. And we'll give that a good mix up so we get that really good.
And I hate the noise. It's so bad at me.
We're going to do a bit with the mixer.
Yeah.
Keep it moving around and do some of the stuff with that. How's it looking, do you think, Ellie?
I think she looks good.
Do you think it's all well mixed in?
Yeah.
Does it look like it's got lots of air bubbles in it now?
Yeah.
So that's what we want, lots of air bubbles to make it rise. Are we happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay then. So what we'll do is we'll switch off our mixer. And we'll just quickly drain the bits out of it. So we don't end up with too much waste on the thing. We'll stand that to the side, it's going to drip everywhere. Right, so there's, you can't know if you can really see it on the camera, but there's our mix in there. And so what we now need is our tin back
Yeah. To put it in.
to put it in. So we're going to, Holly is going to pour that in.
All carefully.
Carefully pour it in and try and spread it all over the tin.
With a bit of your help because it's a little bit heavy.
It's fine, that looks good.
Yeah.
Okay, what we'll do is I'll just grab this off of you and I'll get the scraper and we'll just quickly scrape out what's in the bowl because we don't want to leave anything behind, do we?
Yeah. Because
It's all part of our cake, isn't it? Okay.
we love making cakes.
Okay.
It's funny because we're making a cake and I can cookies on TV.
Right, so that's that, and now all poured into there. So that's now going to go into the oven for about half an hour. And it says that when it's done, we'll know because it should be coming away from the sides of the tin, and it should just be sort of firm on top of it. So I'll pop that in the oven now. And we'll set a timer for half an hour, and then we'll have a look and see how it's doing after that. So that's now done. We are going to go away now and we're going to repeat this process again, so there's no point in recording us doing it again, but we're going to make the same cake twice more and put them in the oven, and we'll come back to you when we've made all three.
Yes.
Right, so here we are. We've now done our 3 cakes. They've all been cooked and they've cooled off now. They've been left to cool. The only other thing that we did to them as per the recipe was we just spread a little bit of apricot jam on the top of them.
Yes.
So they're now all done. So now we've got to move on to the construction phase of actually making our lighthouse. Now we've kind of gone a little bit complicated because we decided that rather than just make any lighthouse, we're going to make a particular lighthouse, aren't we? So which lighthouse are we doing?
Grace Darling's lighthouse.
Yeah. So according to the internet, that's what that looks like. So we're going to be trying to copy that. So that's quite a complicated lighthouse to make. So it's going to take us a little while to do that. But we're going to do as good a job as we can.
Yeah.
So first of all, we're going to take some of these things away because we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So let's take the cakes out of the way for a moment.
Okay.
Thank you, Holly. And what we're going to be starting with is we're going to start with a base. We've got a cake board base to put on here, and what we're going to do is we have some icing here, some ready to roll out blue icing, and we're going to use that to put a base down on the board, and we will stick that in place with some more of the apricot jam that we had before, so it stays in place. So the blue will hopefully make something that looks like the sea. So we'll put this out of the way, and then we will see if we can get on with this. So we'll give Holly some icing sugar and get her just to sprinkle a little bit on the board while I cut us into this packet of icing. A little bit more than that. just spread that around a little bit like that. That's fine. You're going to get lots of that all over your hands before we're done, so just brush it onto the thing. Trying to get into this as best as I can. Never used this stuff before. I've always made icing before, so I'm not really quite sure what to expect. But instructions say we've just got to soften this up by giving it a bit of a knead in some of the icing sugar.
And it's a bit sticking to the packet.
It is very sticky. Get that out. I'm going to try and get as much of this out of the packet as we can, because there's not that much of it and we need quite a lot of the blue icing. We've got various colours and things that we can use.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that and see what we get.
Then we have some cake pens
So
as
we
well.
get some ice sugar on that. Soften out. So you're going to have a little go with that, and so you just sort of do some a bit of squidging and that of the stuff on there. Squidge it about. Don't put too much of the icing sugar on because it will dry it out. Just enough to stop it from sticking is all you want. Squidge it. So it's nice, and all we're doing is making it so that it's pliable and can be manoeuvred around. Okay? So that feels nice and soft now, I think. So now what we'll do is we'll just make sure we've got a thin coating of the icing sugar on the work surface here. And we'll lay this down and we'll grab a rolling pin. Now I'll put a little bit of this on here as well. And then get you to gently roll that out a little bit. Let's make a bit of room here. That's it. And it's okay, stop for a sec. And we'll just try and see if we can pick it up so it doesn't stick too much, because we've got it all stuck to the surface. And turn it around a little bit. Now roll it out the other way for me. That's it, doing good. Keep it going.
I think you're going to have to start now, just picking it up and then turning it from the side to the front.
So while you're doing that, Holly, I'm going to grab a cup and some of the apricot jam that we were using before, and I'm going to get a spoon. I'm just going to get some of that because we're going to need quite a bit. Pop a load of that into a cup, and then I am going to pop that in the microwave just to warm it up, soften it out a bit, ready to use for doing some sticking with.
Can you help me pick it out?
Put a bit more icing sugar down. It's getting sort of sticking. Right, let's just stop a minute, Holly. Let's see if we can do something. This is sticking quite a lot at the moment. So.
How did you do that? Already got a wavy pan, like right here. How do you get away from my plastic?
Okay, I'll keep on rolling this out. Now we're going to end up with something that's very, very thin, I think, at the bottom, because we haven't got very much of this here to use. So we'll just make it as thin as we can, keep spreading it around.
It smells a little bit like Play-Doh.
Let's hope it tastes better than Play-Doh, shall we?
Yeah.
Otherwise that's not going to be very nice.
No. I think that looks good.
I think it looks good, but I think we need to get a bit more of it rolled out as yet to get it on the surface.
Yeah. Got a wavy pattern.
Yeah, we can cut some of those off to straighten it up anyway. It's getting quite thin now, which is making it quite difficult to use. It's fine, we'll still get there. Oops. Put a hole in it now. Roll, it's not a problem, roll it out.
Roll it back out. Roly roly.
Okay, so we've just been trying to roll this out and decided that it just gets too thin when we're trying to roll it out big enough. It's too there's not really enough of it. What we've got here, and we should have got a bit more of it, but haven't got an opportunity to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to that bit in a minute. We've got a different way we're going to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the first cake, and we're going to make the bottom of our lighthouse. So on the picture that's here, there is
Darling's lighthouse.
at the bottom. There's a particular bottom bit, so we're going to cut that bit out first. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of our nice cakes, and we are going to push this board out of the way a little bit, so we've got a bit of space to work. And then we're going to see if we can pop this cake off of the rack, like that.
That's nice.
And we'll lay that down. I'll put a little this on here, so hopefully it won't stick too badly, like that. And what we said we are going to do is we're going to try and make this all in one section. So we've got a couple of bowls here, and what we're going to do is we're going to lay them one right to the edge there, like that, and the other one just to the edge like that. And then what we're going to do is very carefully with this really sharp knife, Holly is going to hold that and keep away from the blade bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut around some of this, but we're going to create a straight edge in the middle, so we make one big piece of cake. Okay, so we're going to cut through here, and then when we come round towards the joint bit, we're going to then go off straight and then come back round on the curve here. We've already got one piece of cake that we're going to cut away, and I'll just do this bit because it's round this side, Holly, if you let go. I'll just do the bit that's round my side, otherwise you'll fall off your stool. And we're going to cut that round like that nicely. And don't worry, we're not going to waste this cake. We've got a use for some of these bits of cake, and anything obviously that's left over at the end we can always eat anyway. I'm going to cut this round here. And go around, so if you grab hold of the knife again. There we go, I'm going to cut along here. I'm going to chop that off, and we'll keep coming around this way. Sorry, I can't quite see what we're doing. There we go. There we are. And round we come. Nice curved shape like that. And we'll push that away. So, what we're hoping now is if we take away a piece of cake, that looks like a very nice piece of cake. You can see on there, it's nice and spongy like, which is beautiful. And take that section away there. Like I said, we will be reusing some of this, so it's not going to be wasted. That corner away there. We might have to try and eat some of it, won't we? See what it's like. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Just a little bit of trimming up here and there. And like that. And then we will take the bowls off the top that we've been using for our pattern. Like that. They can't come off lightly. Yeah, so we'll take those away like that. So the next thing will be, we will get, I'm just going to rinse my hands actually because they're really messy. And then we'll go to the microwave and get out our jam that we're using, gluing with. Nice and soft. So that's nice and soft, and we can use that. It's nice and wet to be able to use, so that's good. Now, what we need to do is we're going to need to get a slice thing to get this off here, because I think there's a good chance it might stick otherwise. I'm hoping it won't break, but if it does, it's not the end of the world because we can glue them back together again with our jam. Anyway, I'll make sure that's free of the board. Looking good. Right, now we'll grab our cake board, which is obviously what we're going to be using for this now. Just going to move things around a bit. And what we'll do is, because this is going to sit sort of through the centre of our board here, we're going to put a bit of this on. So what I'd like, if I just make you a guide, what I'd like you to do is if I put a line sort of through there, I'd like you to make like a sort of a circle there and a sort of circle there. Don't have to be too big, just little circles of stuff there, just sprinkle it around. That's it, and a bit more on that end. And what we're going to do is we'll use that to stick our cake to the board so it doesn't fall off when we start carrying on building with it. I'm just going to put a little bit more on actually, just to really make sure that that's going to stick on there. We don't want our cake all sliding about, do we? Put that aside. Right, let's see if we can get this up on top of here, which is looking good.
Stick it on.
There we go. Put that there and that there. Beautiful. There we go. So that's our base of our lighthouse cake already on there. So that's really good. So the next stage is going to be that we're going to want to cover that with some rollout icing to make that a dark colour. The original one is sort of a browny colour. We're going to use sort of a black because we've got some black, and then we are going to go back to our blue to create our water around the bottom of it. So we're just going to stop for a minute and clear up all this mess so we've got something to work on, and then we'll be back.
Right.
Okay, so we've had a clear up. We've got out now our black icing, and we just put some fresh ice and sugar down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll out some strips which can go around the outside of our base section, because the top of it needs to end up with some white on it, because that's how it looks in the picture. So let's get Holly to have a little go, just have a little bit of a roll out of that for me.
Okay.
Let's go sort of make that a little bit wider. That's it. Lovely. Okay, that'll do for a sec. If you just stop for a sec, let's stop your rolling pin. We'll turn that around a bit. So now see if you can roll it out again that way.
This way.
Yep, that's it. Just try and widen it out a bit. That's it. Stop for a minute. Okay. Right, okay, so let's now, if I just borrow this for a sec, let's see if we can go that way and make it a bit longer,
Okay.
a little bit taller. Let's see if we can get a bit of length on this. Got to make sure it doesn't end up sticking to the surface.
Otherwise, we'd have to cut it off.
It's a bit of a difficulty, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's see if we can roll it out as long as we can.
As long as we can do this as well. Okay. Never made a lighthouse cake.
What we'll do is we'll keep on. Let's see if we can make that a little bit bigger, a bit faster. Careful, it's not going to stick. That's the only thing I watch for. Okay, it's still coming off. That's good.
Done. Beautiful. It actually looks quite. It looks longer than the rolling pin.
Let's just see if we can
Roll
a
it
little
down.
bit more length out of it.
I haven't even got dough.
Okay. So then what we're going to try to do with a little bit of that is we are going to cut this into a couple of strips,
Yes.
and then we will use our apricot jam to try to stick it around the side of our cake.
I think it's sticking to it.
We'll see if we can roll this up to get it off without it sticking, which is brilliant. Like that. Okay, so let's put a little bit of stuff on that to make sure it's still free. Okay, right, there we go. So brush some of that off so it's not quite so messy. And we'll get a knife, just clean that up.
A little bit.
And then we're just going to cut that into two strips. Doesn't matter that it's not very straight, because we'll deal with that when it goes on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we can peel it up.
Okay, so yeah, that's free. That's free as well. Cool. So we'll grab our cake, and I'm just going to try and put that on something to stop it laying in all the mess. Like that. And also to make it easier to work on. And then find my glue, my jam.
Jam.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to brush some of that on the side. This is probably one of the most tricky bits to do.
So Daddy's going to do it.
Am I? Right, okay. I was going to get you to do some as well, but If you want me to do it, I'll do it. And we'll put a load of this around the side.
I'll do a bit if you want me to.
Cool. Go on then. Just dab it in. Don't try and brush it too hard because you'll pull the cake apart. Just dab it in. So keep it smooth. Keep it dabbing it in, dabbing it in, dabbing it in. Stick it on. Dabbing it in.
Stick it in. Dab it in on there.
And the great thing is this will also, when you put the icing on, it'll start to smooth off the look at the outside of the cake and stuff, which is good. Dabbing it in.
Keep dabbing it.
Right, next thing I'm going to do is also, just we'll end up with all cake in the jam and everything. What we'll also do is we'll now put a little coat of this down one side of this. So I'll just do this quickly.
You do.
Okay, like that. Put that through there. So we've got, definitely got, we'll do that one in a minute. Start with this one. And we'll see what the chances of this coming together is. So hopefully we can lay that around one side of the cake. Ooh, it's all kind of collapsed. It's fine. It's fine. We'll get it out and roll it. Jam certainly sticks because it's sticking well to itself. We'll pop that around the side of the cake. And we're going to just hook it onto the top of the cake while we're doing. I'm just going to get a knife to grab hold of that because it's really thin. There we go. There we go.
Because it's collapsed.
It's fine. It's just because it's a bit thin and soft. And we'll stick it around the side of the cake. Like that. That's looking pretty good. Sticking it on, stick it on. Just spin it around a bit so I get to this side. I would get you to do it, Holly, but it's really, really fiddly, this bit. So
yeah.
Do that. Hang on a sec. Right, so that's all going on there nicely. And what we'll do in a minute is we'll get rid of the excess of the ice and sugar and stuff in a bit, but that's fine. Okie doke. Right, hang on. Right, now we will spin that around to the other side, and what we're going to do is get you to quickly put some stuff on this piece for me. Just spread it along that for me. Get some kitchen roll to get rid of my sticky fingers. I've probably got a lot bigger piece there than we actually need, so probably will end up cutting a piece of that off.
Yeah.
Okie doke. Okie doke. So I think we probably don't need like that piece. Let's take that off the end.
Yeah,
It'd be too long. We'll pick that up and we'll bring that up here. What I'm going to do is, unlike last time, I'm going to start in the middle. Pop that onto the middle and come round to the side. Because then it'll be a bit easier because it's the middle that will sag before. There we go, much nicer. So that will tuck in there beautifully.
Yes, and now Daddy's going to cut the excess.
Right, we'll make that look. That's it, and we'll just stick that in with the apricot jam that's in there and just tuck it onto the top to make sure that that's all going to sit nicely round the top.
We
and everything.
don't need to take the excess off
No,
the
that's
top.
fine like that. Beautiful. So then what we can do then is, I'll take this little piece out of the way, is what we'll do is we'll give that a little brush over with some water, which will get rid of some of that off of there. We'll just rinse my fingers because again I'm really sticky.
Yeah. This is actually a sticky job.
It's a very sticky job, isn't it?
Yeah. I haven't really got sticky hands yet.
Brush away. Okay, we'll use my finger then, we'll just clean it up. A bit of water.
Yeah. Can I have it again?
To go very, very gently. Then we don't want loads of water, just to brush off the flour, the ice and sugar off the side. Hasn't got to be perfect because we'll come back to it in a bit. Not too much, otherwise it'll just be a big wet soggy mess. Very nicely.
Now I'm getting a lot of sticky fingers.
Beautiful. That's looking good. Right. Lovely. So that's now got the black icing around the outside, and then we're going to put some white on the top, and we're obviously going to add some blue for the water around the bottom. So probably the next thing to do is to move on to doing some sea around the bottom. So we'll clear a bit of a space, and then we'll roll out some of the blue to go at the bottom.
Yes.
Put that out of the way. Leave that out as well. We're getting quite a lot of mess on here at the moment, so let's shift some of that up. Otherwise we'll end up with all kinds of things all mixed together.
Yeah. We don't like that happening. And we don't want it happening as well.
Okay, so let's get a little bit more of that ice and sugar out. Okay, now we know we don't have an awful lot of the blue because we found that out before when we were trying to play with this. So what we'll do is we'll divide it into two pieces, and what we'll do is we'll try and tackle it from both sides of the lighthouse. So we'll get some of this, and we'll give it a little roll. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try to make something that's a little bit like a big triangle. What shape's the triangle, Holly?
It has three corners, and it goes down, over, from the bottom, and then up.
Alright. So, does that look anything like a triangle at the moment?
No.
And what does that look like?
It looks like a big old circle block.
Sort of a circly, squarey thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Because we can make it.
Keep your fingers out of the way, otherwise I'll roll over your fingers.
So, I've got this one. Are we going to cut it into a shape?
We'll trim it into a triangle shape, but we're going to mostly roll it into a triangle shape if we can. Hasn't got to be a perfect triangle. We want something that will kind of fit in the space that we're trying to fill.
Yeah. It looks like a blob still. It's okay, we can make it into the bum, bottom, 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 bottom. La di da di da di da di da.
I think we're nearly as far as we can go with this one.
And then we can do this one. I'm trying to make a triangle.
Oops. Soft.
Save it quickly. Uh-oh.
Never mind, that's fine.
Well,
We want a straight edge anyway, so we'll cut that bit off to make a straight edge with. That's fine. Okay, let's roll it on there. Right, so what we're now going to do is we'll leave your bit there for a minute. We'll get this one here, and we'll get our cake back.
Mhm.
I'm going to start off by putting some stuff on here to try and stick that to. So we'll put some of our special jammy glue stuff down.
Yes.
We'll put that on that side there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to get this.
Edible glue.
It is edible glue, very much so. I'm going to put that in there like that. Don't worry, because we are going to trim this up still.
Yes.
So we're going to have the sea lashing up the bottom of our lighthouse here. And we are also going to add some extra decoration on top of this when we're done. So don't worry that it's not perfect looking, because we're going to put some rocks and things which we're actually going to make out of some of our remaining pieces of cake and stuff.
Yes.
So they'll go on there to kind of add to what we've got. So don't worry that it doesn't look perfect. It will look good when it's done.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got quite a lot there already. So that's good. Sorry, I've got that bit stuck to my fingers. Okay, press that in. Beautiful. Right, now what we'll do is, it's actually quite a large piece I've got left here, so I'm actually going to try and use that to go into that corner there. So we're going to put some more edible glue.
Glue.
In there, and we'll put that in there. We can add to this anyway. It's very delicate, this icing.
Yeah. If it gets screwed up, you have to try again.
So we'll put that in there like that to take the excess bits off.
Flash.
That's it. It looks like the sea crashing and bashing against the sides of our cake, and that's absolutely great. That's what we're after. So we're going to roll out some more icing in a minute anyway.
Yeah,
But for the moment we're going to just use up some of these little pieces. We can press them together. A little bit of water makes the seal on these things. We can use a little bit of water just to join these things up. Let's take, so we've got another quite a large piece here that we can use. So we'll get a little bit of water on the top of the other one. We'll lay that into there and make that look nice in there.
Basic.
Just join them up.
It's edible sea.
It is. That's the thing with this cake. It's all going to be edible. There's going to be nothing added to this that you can't eat. We've even got some pens for decorating, haven't we? Which they're totally edible. Cake pens, which are totally edible. So that's going to be really pretty too.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to again move this out of the way while we roll out some more.
And I made it into a triangle. I made this triangle.
I'll gather up these bits that we've got left over, and what I'm going to do is I'm just getting a little bit dry, so I'm just going to put a little bit of water with them, which will bring them nicely back to life again.
Yes. Too late.
Water, squish it together. Let's get your bit over here.
I made it into a triangle.
That's fine. Squish this all together again. Wrap all the little pieces. There we go, all the bits back. Okay, let's roll that in there. Let's get a little bit more of the icing sugar.
Not that much because it will stick with loads, I think.
There we go.
I just drank a bit. What?
Okay, so let's now roll some of this out as well. Just get some of this off my fingers.
It's a bit like snow, this. Really dally down. Tiny bit rain.
Try not to make too much mess with it.
Okay. I'm just going to wash my hands.
we'll take what we've got here, see if it still comes off alright. Get that, yeah. Turn that around slightly. Roll out a little bit more. And then I'm going to take a knife and cut this into 2 pieces. Go there like that, which will give us 2 sections to work with. Like that. And then we'll get our cake back and we're going to try and do something with these 2 end pieces that we've not yet managed to put anything on. Lots of sticky on there.
Edible glue.
And then what we'll do is we'll see if we can like tease it around the corner to kind of fit into there. It's your little sister coming to help, isn't it? We'll cut off the excess bit here. Cut off the excess bit there. And we'll use that just to do a little bit of patching up with in a minute, but that's got the majority of that where it wants to be. So we'll have a little piece here, we'll get a bit of water as we said before to stick with as well, and we'll stick that in there so that will make sort of a bit of a straighter edge on that bit.
Yeah.
In an ideal world we'd have a much bigger sheet of the blue icing and we'll just cover the entire base with it, but we haven't got one, so we're just kind of doing it in our own way, which seems to be working quite nicely, and it means we can be a little bit more creative with it as well, which is nice. So I'll stick that on there too. So now I'll spin that around and we'll get to the other bit on the other edge here. Let's get a bit of stuff here. There. Right there. What we'll do is take that piece off the end there, and we'll get some more stuff more sticky on the cake board. Like that. And then we will pop that on there and wrap it around the cake. So it's coming close into the actual main section we want there, and again we'll take off the edges because we don't want it right up to the edge. So we'll take off the edge bits and we can then use those bits that are coming off to fill in the other empty gaps. So that's looking good.
But we're not going to fill in my teeth gaps.
Okay, we can put a little piece
There.
There, like that.
And it's still slashing at the side.
And again, it doesn't matter if it's got little gaps because we can cover up where we're going to make some rocks and things. If there's any little holes and things, almost the majority of it is there. And we'll put this piece.
And on the sea we can put some rocks as well.
Yeah, we'll put this piece along there. Lots of filling in going on here.
Yeah.
So I think we'll let's use this on this corner here. I think that's the biggest gap we've got, so we'll fill in on that corner there. And a little piece to go in there, and that's not looking too bad at all, really. So we'll put some rocks and things on in a minute, and then that will look pretty good. So that's not too bad. Just clean the things up. So again, we'll just press in some of these bits. Them together, a little bit of the water just to help that, and we will give that all a nice water rinse in a minute to get all that excess stuff off the top of that. So there we go, we now have some glue around our base here, and we will sort that out neatly with a little water wash in a sec. Really could do it with a little brush that I don't have, so I guess it's going to have to be the old fingers again. So just rinse that off.
Not that much water on your fingers, otherwise you'll get blue fingers.
So I'll get blue fingers anyway, but it's fine.
It's fine, we'll wash them off. And then little gaps.
Okay, that should do. That'll do. I don't want to put too much on. That's all fine. Okay, so what we're just going to do while we're doing the base bit here is we're now just going to do the bits of like rocks to go on the bottom. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to use some of our remaining bits of cake. So we've got lots of pieces of cake that we cut off earlier on, and what we're going to do is we're going to make some irregular sort of shaped pieces that we can just literally put on there to create some random rocks and things. Again, we're going to need to stick them carefully. So what we're going to do is just going to cut off some chunks of cake. Just going to cut them up over here, and then I'll get you to help me with that. Just cut lots of little chunks of cake.
And you have to be careful with knife.
You have to be very careful, especially with this knife. It's a really big, sharp knife. This one is.
That's why if you're getting me to do it with the sharp knife, you're doing it with me.
That's right, definitely. Okay, so we've got lots of little random pieces that we can use. So what I'd like you to do is just to find a place on the board and just put a little spot of the jam on it, just a little spot. Just daub a little spot on it. Okay, and then we'll stick a piece of cake in there as a rock. And what we're aiming to do is try and put some on where all the joins are and stuff, where we didn't have quite enough. That's it, that'll do. I need lots. And we'll put that on there, there's a piece on there. And we'll put some more bits of rock around. And it'll be a bit like the picture then, where there's bits of rocks and things all over the place. Perfect. Let's put a couple of bits there, shall we? Get a couple of pieces in there. Lovely. Keep it coming. Yeah, bit on the side there. Probably got a small bit there. Yeah, that's lovely. There. Yeah, and some in these bits here where it's a bit. Try and not put too much on, honey. Just a dab will do. That's it. Here we go. Lots of chocolate cake rocks. Beautiful. Maybe just another couple. Don't want to go mad. Okay, maybe some over there. It's very light chocolate cake. It's breaking in my fingers. It's so hard. And I think maybe if we put one over here, and then what we'll do is we'll put one over here, if we can, Holly, where that join is there, which will help cover up that little join in the. And I think that's enough. I think that's looking good. And the good news is we've still got some cake left. So here's a piece of cake for you. And I'll have a little piece as well. Right, and then what I think we'll do is we'll have another break for a few minutes. We'll have a clear up. We'll let some of this dry, and then we'll start working on. We're going to put a white layer of icing over the top of this, to create a base then to come up off of that for the actual lighthouse. But so far we have a nice lighthouse base with the blue sea at the bottom and the rocks around it to protect it. So we'll stop there for a few minutes and we'll be right back.
Right, we are back.
Okay, so we've had a clear up. We've now got some white icing out. It's got a small piece, so it's just going to soften that up a bit. And I'm going to get Holly to do a bit of rolling. This is going to be to go on the top of the base bit, so the bit that we use just before we actually start making the actual top sections of the lighthouse itself.
Yes.
So, we'll put that down, and you can have a little roll of that. So what we're going to want to make with that is kind of effectively like a couple of big circles. Let's get stuck. Take it off. Make some more stuff down. Flip it over. And roll away again. Or at least enough to make like a couple of big circles, really, is what we're after.
I'll try not to make it thin.
I'm all stuck again, unfortunately.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, let's give me this a sec. See if we can
Make it a little bit bigger.
make it a lot bigger. So as I say, we need to make a couple of circles and a sort of joining bit in the middle.
How big a circle?
And they're ultimately going to be like the cutouts that we made before, aren't they? And so I think they are still around. So we can grab those bowls, which we can use for a template makeup. We just need one of those.
It's raining again.
It is.
Good.
Okay.
Still a little bit wet. Okay.
That's okay. So what we'll do, if this works, we shall see, is get one of these bowls, and we'll put that down there like that, and we'll get a knife, and we'll quickly trim roughly around, because that should be the same sort of size as the thing we're using. It doesn't have to be too precise, but hopefully it'll be about right. And we'll pull that out of the way. And then, can we manage to get another one cut out of that there? I think just about that'll go. And we'll cut that like that. And cut that around that. I'm just doing this on account of the knife being really sharp. I don't want you to hurt yourself. There. Put that bit out of the way. We will want some more of this icing in a minute just to do the bit in the middle.
Yes.
What we'll do is we'll grab our cake that we're making and a little board to put it up on. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to daub some of our special stuff in the middle, which seems to be going a lovely colour on my brush. The blue is staining my brush, but never mind, it's fine. We'll daub.
Because we can wash it.
We can. We'll daub this on the top so we can get nice.
Hopefully it'll come off.
Yeah, it will come off, that's fine. It's only natural food colourings and stuff anyway, so it's all fine. So we'll put lots of that on so we can get it to stick, including on the edges of the black eyes thing, so that it can stick to that as well. So now, careful, no, wait. We want to make sure these aren't stuck. They are a little bit, and we've got to get them off without breaking them. Okay, so we'll stick one of those on top like that. And then I'll get you to help me press them on in a second. Just need to make sure we don't ruin what we've done so far. There we go, and I'll pop that one on top of there, like that. And then what we're going to do is just gently pinch round the edges and things and make sure they sit nicely on top of the other one, making a nice connection, nice sort of shape and all like that. And while you do that, I'm going to get this piece of icing that we've got rolled out before, and I'm just going to try and turn it into something roughly rectangular shaped, which I think should just about fit into the middle space that we need. And we'll just shape it up a little bit as it goes on to fit, and I'll kind of cut away any excess that's there. Shape it in.
In here?
Yep. So that we get the overall shape that we're after. Just fit that into there. And again, like we did before, a little bit of water will help us seal the joins up.
Yes. Joins.
Let's press them together. And there we go. We now have a lovely white topping on the base there, ready to start building upwards from there.
Yes.
That's looking pretty good as far as I can see from it. Let's make sure we pinch all the edges in. It is Grace Darling's Lighthouse cake, isn't it?
We're trying our best to make it.
It's looking good so far.
Yeah.
Lovely. So the next bit is going to be, we're going to start trying to go upwards now and start putting some layers on. So we know that one of the sections is going to need something, a big building on one end of it, which is going to be a sort of single-story building and stuff, which is obviously going to be very similar to the base that's already on there. And then the other one has got the two parts of the height of the thing. So we are going to move all this out of the way, and then we will come back with the cake ready to start cutting out some sections of cake.
Yeah. We are back.
We're back, as she says. So now we've brought another one of our tray bakes over, and that's all ready to use. So the next stage is we're going to start taking our thing upwards. So what we're going to do is we've got to have a big piece first, which is for like the big building, which is sort of stands to the side. So we've got a large cookie cutter. It's corrugate one side, plain the other. So we're going to use a plain side, and we're going to push that into the cake. So if you have a go with that, Holly, carefully push it down. Okay, that's it, and we'll pull that out. Not sure how this is going to work, because I've not used one of these yet, but we'll see. That doesn't look too bad. So we'll have to use a knife just to cut away the excess bit on the outside there. But let's just take that bit out. Put it with our spare bits of cake. Did it cut all the way through? Yeah, it did. Perfect, lovely. So that's one big round circle of cake for the big building that stands to one side. So I'm just going to sit that over there just for the moment. And then what we need then, in addition to that, is we are then going to use two small ones. One for the actual lighthouse itself, and one for the little part of the lighthouse that sits next to it. So we'll pop those onto the cake right there, and then we don't want to waste any amount of cake that we can spare. Okay, so we'll push those in and cut those through if we can. Okie doke, lovely. And we'll pop them out again carefully. Looks like we're taking the middle with it this time, so careful. So we'll see if we can tease that back out of the cutter.
Yes,
Still making sure that keep them the size. So that's looking good.
Tease that one now.
And tease that piece out there as well without breaking the cake. And that's come out beautiful. So we've got two nice little round bits there. Now, with each of these that we've got here, sit them down there for a minute, I'm going to move our cake out of the way. What we've got to do then is they are all, on the picture, they all are red coloured. So at that point we are going to switch over to using some of our red roll-out icing. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to see if a simple technique will work. We don't know if this will work, but we'll try it. We're going to try and make a strip, which we can then just roll the cake in, basically. So I'm just going to get started on this. Try and keep this to the shape we want, because we don't need it much wider than this is at the moment. But what we do want is a considerably longer piece. So let's see if we can persuade this to roll out into a nice length for us. Keep it moving on the work surface.
And it's getting redder as well. Because some of the ice
Earth and sugar.
Yeah, has come off, and that makes it look really red.
And the colour shows up more then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let's roll this out. We do have quite a bit of the red that we can use, so hopefully we'll have enough, because we've got to do colours up the side of the actual lighthouse itself. Roll this out. So it's actually a little wider than we need, but it's okay. We'll use what we want, and then we'll re-roll any excess that's left. Okay, yeah, let's stick it. That's good. Oops, sorry. Right, so what I think we've ended up doing is we made it wider than we need, but that's okay because we can cut that, like we did before, we can cut that into two pieces that we can use both of now, so that'll be quite good. Okay, push that off. Is this still free on the surface? Yep, this is good. Okay, so we'll get a knife and we'll just quickly cut that.
It doesn't have to be straight.
Doesn't have to be perfect because it's mouldable. That's the good thing with icing, it is mouldable. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to hope that if we put this on here and then we roll it all around that will fit. So that does seem to be okay. What about the big one? Is that likely to go all the way around? Yeah, just nearly. Pretty much. So hopefully a little bit of stretching on there as we do. We should be okay. So we'll put some of our special cake glue on, our jam. Like that. Okay. Just do it on the first one. And then we'll pick one of these. We'll try it with the big one.
Yeah, but that's the biggest side.
And then what we'll do is we will grab the edge and we're going to try and roll it around, keeping it nice and tight.
Roll it.
See if we can get it just to reach. It looks like it might just reach, yeah. Perfect. So that's fine. And what we're going to do is just tuck the edge of that under just so that it stays in place. Like that, beautifully. And then this side we'll do much the same. Now what we'll do is we'll make this more ragged side where it's a little bit rougher. We'll make that the underside so you won't even notice that's there. And what we will end up doing is we will glue that to our actual cake. So we'll just sit that to the side for a minute. Now obviously we're going to need to get some more of this in a minute, but we'll now do another one of these. If we where's this on here? We might actually be able to get both of them out of this piece if we're lucky. Okay, let's put that along there.
Don't need that much.
Okay, if we do the smallest one first,
Yeah.
and see how we can get away with it. See if we can get it round. Snip that off about there. I don't think that's going to be big enough for the piece though, is it? Wrap that around there, tightly.
We can roll that out if we need to.
Yeah, we won't have to. Oh, it's getting a little bit more tricky now. It's got stuff on it, but okay, we'll wrap all that up in there like that. Might need a bit of water just to join that up.
Doing it.
Wrap it up. Join. It's coming good. Lovely. So that's a little red tower, and yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to get that one out of that. I want to tear it, but let's see if I could dare stretch it any further. I'm not sure that we'll manage it, but let's give it a go. Pretty much what we'll do is if I can't pull it round, we'll get just a little bit of another one and do it. But no, I think we can get away with that. I think we'll just stretch it around, put some water on to seal it up.
Seal it up.
Like that. Wrap that round. And what I'll do is I'll just dry my fingers off a little bit so it doesn't all stick. Take a little bit of this excess that we've got on the top that we don't really need, and we'll use that just to plug the side up there because it'll seal up and it'll be fine once it's on there. Okay. Put a little bit of this sugar on it just to stop it being too sticky for a minute, and we'll clean it up once it's on the cake.
Yes.
And obviously the tops and bottoms most are not going to see because there'll be another piece to go on top of those anyway when they're done anyway. So that's all good, and so that's the three pieces of that. So the next thing is we'll just quickly bring our cake back over, and we'll put those pieces onto our cake. Okay, so there's our cake that's going up. It's looking good. So we're going to get some of our special glue because we're going to glue on the big section onto this piece here. So we need quite a bit of that to make that stick. We'll get that from here, and we'll pop that right about there. So it's pretty good. And then now we've got the tricky bit to do. So I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to put the sticky on the bottom of this cake. Put quite a bit on there because I'm a little bit concerned that if we start making towers have a tendency to fall down. So we're going to put plenty on. That's the bigger bit. So that's the main tower bit. like that. And then we'll get this one, and what we can do is we can be extra clever. We can put the two joins, so the two bits of cake, so they touch each other. So then they will effectively disappear. So those two sections are now in contact with each other. I don't know why that's coming apart there, but that's fine. There we go. Lovely. So that makes the first red level to go on the cake. So in a minute we'll just give them a quick tidy up, clean them up a little bit, and then that's ready then to go on up to the next stage, isn't it, Holly?
Yeah.
Okay, we've had a bit of a break and had a good clear up, and we're now going to come back and try and get this finished off, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we so far have got the bottom bit. Now let's just bring it over and put it on the camera. So this is what we've got so far. We've got the base, the rocks around there, the bottom section, the first 3 layers of the red stuff. So going forward from there now, we've got to move on to the white layer in the picture. So we've got to have 2 pieces of cake going up for the white that side, 1 on that side, and a little miniature one on top there. And then we're going to have a red ring there, and then the top one we're going to do with some yellow to make it look like the light, but with a little red top on the top of it there, and also got some white icing to go on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out all the pieces next, aren't we? And then once we cut out the pieces, we'll get out the icing to put on and start constructing it and get it finished. So let's just move this out of the way for the moment, and we'll crack on. So as we say, we're going to start cutting things out. So we first of all need 2 sections which are going to be white ones, so they're going to be on this same size cutter as we were using before. So we'll place that on there and get you to cut that all the way through, Holly. Okie doke. That's in like that, and I suspect they're going to come out with the cake. Yeah, it's coming out there. So that's one of the white sections, and then we'll cut another one of them. Do you want me to do this one?
Yeah. The crinkly bits make your hands hard.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. So there we go, pull that one out there. So that's another one of the white bits of the towers there. Then we want to have, we need one of the small ones to go on top of the smaller side. So we'll cut that out there. Put that through if I get it out. So that's one of the ones for that's the white one on the smaller side. And then we're going to switch to the same. We want 2 of those to come out for the main side. I'm going to run out of cake on this piece before long and have to get a switch to another cake in a minute. But that's not a problem, we have another one.
That's why we got 3.
Yes, so that's going to be a piece to go on top there. Straighten them up a bit so they don't all fall off. Let's see if I can cut that. Can I manage to squeeze 2 out of that bit? I might do. Cut that through there like that. Got another piece there, so that gets us so we've got 2 of the whites, 2 of the reds, so that's to the top of the lighthouse. We might have to just flatten these off a little bit because they're a little bit wobbly.
Yeah.
We'll sort them out, and then we've got the one of those, and we need a little tiny one. Is that right? 2 of those. Yeah, we need a little tiny one there. For a tiny one, we haven't got anything we can press that out with. So we've got something we can use as a little guide. It's like the top off a bottle, and we're just going to manually cut around that with a knife, just to kind of basically get out a very small piece of cake. I'm not sure how well that's coming out, but we'll see what we've got. Yep, that's come out okay. So we've got a very small piece there, which will be a very top piece there. So that should be all the rest of the pieces that we need to build our cake with. So what we'll do is we'll move all these out of the way, and then we'll come back with all our icing, and we'll get on and we'll ice those, won't we?
Yes.
We have cleared away all the rest of the cake, and now we've got the just the pieces we need, some icing sugar out here that we can use, and we've got our icings and things that we had before. So we'll squish this out a bit so they've got that on the surface to use. We're doing the white layer at the moment, so what we're going to do is get some of the white icing. I've got some that I had before, which I think will still be okay, and we'll cut ourselves another piece off here as well to use as well, so that we've got plenty of it to go at. Okay, so if I get Holly just to have a go to soften that up, don't roll it in too much of the stuff, and just work it with your fingers and soften it up a little bit. I'm just going to grab a little bit of water to use. How are you coming along? Is that softening?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay, squidgy, squidgy. See if we can put this bit in with it as well. Squidge it all together. Okay. So, what we're going to do is, a bit like before, we're going to be rolling our cake inside it and making a thing for it. So I just realised I don't have the rolling pin. There's the rolling pin. Thing we had to clear up earlier, so it wasn't here anymore. Okay, let's have a roll it now. One of the things we've got to do is we've got to do like a double one in white. So we're going to make. Can you just move your hand so I don't roll it over? Okay, we'll make a nice long thing to roll it in, but it's important it's a bit taller than before, and we don't want it too thick either. So we'll just roll that out.
And we'll try not to get it stuck again.
We'll try not to get it stuck, won't we? Yeah. So let's see if we can. Oh, that is actually sticking, which is annoying.
Yes, I thought it would.
Let's see.
That's super annoying.
Okay, that is totally stuck. So let's just peel it up, fold it up, and we'll do it again.
Yes. I think we need a little bit.
Just needed to keep moving it when I was doing it. That's the thing. Okay. We can roll this up again and
Still
things
stuck
want
it.
to stick. Keep using lots of stuff, but it still wants to stick.
Yes.
It's very silly.
Yeah.
Not doing very well with this bit, are we?
Now, because it keeps sticking. I've already got messy hands.
Because you just made them a mess on purpose, didn't you?
Stick.
Okay, that's looking a bit better.
Yes. And it didn't stick this time.
Alright. Okay, right. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly cut a straight line across there, or relatively straight, get rid of the spare bit, and we'll cut a straight piece back there. Take that
Doesn't
bit off.
have to be that straight.
It's just reasonably straight, so it's tidy, that's all. Right, now what we're going to do is we want to take two of these larger pieces, because they're going to come together to make our the rest of our tower thing, aren't they? So what we need you to do, Holly, is to grab this sticky stuff, and I'd like you to put some of that in between the two of them, so just like stick a load of that oil over it, and we'll basically stick our cake together a bit more. Don't scrape it so much, just daub it on. Get a bit more stuff and just daub it on like that. If you scrape it, you'll take all the cake off, you see.
Okay.
Right, we'll stick it together like that, and then what we've got to do then is we've got to put some on the side,
Yeah.
and we'll lay that bit down on the icing,
Okay.
and then whilst holding this together, we'll just daub a load on here ready to roll it in it. Okay, right, so now what we're going to do, some stuff on my hand so I don't get it all stuck, we're going to try to roll
It's over.
it over
And over.
into the icing like that. Okay. And then when we got where we want to go, we'll cut off the bit we don't need.
Yes, because
Save that for later. And then we can tuck. Actually, there's quite a lot there. We'll probably trim some of that off, I think.
Okay.
We don't want too much excess, otherwise we won't be able to get it to all stick together, will we? We'll take some of that off there as well. That's better.
He's bad. Excesses, isn't it?
Right, it just makes it quite difficult if you've got too much spare icing on it, doesn't it? Okay, so we're going to kind of pinch that together. We get a little bit of water like we were doing before, just to nip that together in the join. Okay. Excellent. Take a little bit of this excess off the top so that we've not got too much at the top. And leave that alone.
Making it all chocolatey.
Okie doke. So what I'm going to do is just put a sprinkle on that one so it's not so tacky to put down. And then what we want to do is we're going to put a blob of this on the bottom, the jam on the bottom to do the sticking. I want quite a bit on here because otherwise it's not going to really stick. So that's now just going to go on top of the tower, the main tower. I'll show you that in a minute, but we'll just pop it on there for the moment. Doke. Right. So next thing we need to do, stuff we can do quite easily, I'm just trying to get rid of some of the sticky, is we can make a little piece just to go on top of the big section that we had earlier. So let's clear some of that away. Regather all these bits.
You probably want a little bit of this.
Water just to make it stick together. Okay, right, now have a go at just rolling that out for me, Holly. In a sec. Stop. Remember that will get stuck if we don't attend to it. Okay, so put that down, get you rolling that out a bit again. How are you doing?
Good.
Just got away with it now if it's sticky. Okie doke. Excellent. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to quickly cut out a circle out of there. This is going to be to go on top of the other building that's there. So again, we need some stuff to glue it on.
Glue.
Which again is our special jam, our apricot jam. Paint that on.
Paint it on.
And then we'll just lay that on top of that section of the cake.
So he's just sticking.
So yeah, I've just been laying that on so that will come together. Now what I'll do is I will just get our stand that we were using before, one of our bowls, and we'll bring over what we've got here. So now we have the white section is now on top of this one here, and we've got part of the actual tower here. Now all we need to do is to make sure this is going to actually stay put. It's a little bit wobbly, so we've got to hope that that's is going to hold when it comes to it. Okay.
It's a little bit wobbly, baby.
It's not too bad, so we'll see how we go. We'll see if we can balance it over the other way a little bit in a bit, but that's coming together. It's also got a little bit of imperfection down the bottom there that we're going to need to try and patch in somehow. A little bit of something just to sort that out. A little bit icing. A little bit okay, I think. Kid out. So we'll move that out of the way for a minute.
Move it.
Okay, so now we've got that done, we now need to have the very little tiny one, which is a white one. And we can again get a little bit of some of that. We could probably get away with this little piece of spare stuff here to use that to wrap that with without really doing anything much with it.
Baby. You just cut the excessy bits off.
Yes.
And
we'll paint some more jam on it, and then we'll see if we can roll that in it.
glue in. It's called the glue jam.
Okay, take that bit off, and now pinch that up so it knits it all together. Okay, we'll push that in a little bit, and then the final touch for that one is we actually need a piece to go on the top, so we can again cut a little piece for that out of our spare bits here.
I'll just be back in a sec.
So we'll just go around and we'll seal that up around the top like that. And then that again will need gluing onto the piece below that it actually goes on a bit of a offset to the side.
Sorry about that. A little bit of Africa, Daddy. Alright.
Okay, so we've done that right. So now we have 3 more pieces left to do. Which is, yes.
A little bit of this and that.
Okay, so what we've got to do now is we've got to wrap another piece in some white, but it's gonna need a reasonable amount. I'm not sure if there's enough here, but we'll see if we can get it out of this piece.
And if not, we can chop a little bit more off. It has still got cake on it.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of cake on it, isn't it? Not too much of a problem.
If we can clear it up. Clear it up, clear it up, clear it up. A little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Okay.
Little bit of Africa.
Oops.
A little bit. That is it. A little bit of this and then glass. Wait, he's gonna wrap. He's gonna cut that and then get the excess off. And then he's gonna put some of our jam glue on. Not much left of that.
Yeah, but I'm sure there'll be enough to do good with.
Ready to stir.
some of this off, so there's not too much overhang, so we don't want too much, otherwise it won't all stick elsewhere. Make sure we can nibble that up tightly.
If you need any more, I've already set it up for you.
Okay, put that on the bottom.
Yes.
And get a little bit of extra,
Yes.
because that's coming apart slightly on the actual thing. So.
Put a piece on. Go a bit of this.
Okay, right. Just going to have a break for a minute while we clear up and get ready for the next layer.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've had a clear up, got rid of those bits, and so now we've got the last two bits. We've got some red and some yellow that we need to. We're going to use some yellow to go around a section to make it look like the actual light in the lighthouse. So we're going to quickly roll this out, aren't we, honey? And we're going to try and make a longish, fairly narrow sort of piece that we can use to wrap that in. We're going to make this a little bit thicker to help us with a graduation, because this is going to go on a bit smaller piece of cake. So we're going to try and use this to join it in to the section below it, basically. So it needs to be a little bit stronger to help actually join things through with. Okay, so that's a piece like that. I think that should be about the right size to wrap that in. So we'll just quickly plonk some of our special gluey stuff on here. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make a sort of a fairly straight edge across the top there, so that we haven't got too much at the top of it where we're going to stick to. Well, a little bit, but we don't want much. And then roll that round. And then in a minute I'm going to trim a little bit off the bottom, because we don't want too much of the bottom. I've got some scissors here. I'm actually going to cut it with scissors so it'll be quicker. And I'm going to leave that, make it a little bit smaller. I want to leave an overhang that I can actually use to overhang what's already on the other piece, just to connect them in, basically. So we'll make sure that's joining well, get a bit of water to seal the actual join.
Yes.
In there. I'm going to tap that top bit in there, because we are going to go straight into the top section after that. So we are nearly kind of at the top of our little lighthouse. So we're going to then put that on with lots of our special gluey stuff at the bottom. We'll stick that to the section below. Lots of that on there, so we'll pop that on top as it's coming down in size now. And I will bring this over and show you in a second.
Yes, you will.
And I'll show you what we'll do, just a bit of smoothing out in a moment. So now we need the next bit, which is the red section, which is the last section in there. Just wondering if that's right. It's not actually right, is it? We've got to get another red section in first, haven't we? And we've got to have a red section on top. That's fine, I can swap that over. It will fit on, not a problem. So we'll roll that out with some red. do want to try and get a bit of this left because we're going to put a little bit of red on the very top of the cake. So we will cut this like before. We'll cut a nice straight line down there. Put that piece off. We'll chop that straight on the edge there. And we're going to make that a little bit smaller as well. Make it a bit easier to work with.
And it doesn't have to be a perfect line, does it?
No, it doesn't have to be perfect. We'll put some of our jam on there as well. You can stick this together. And we'll wrap that in that, just like that. Find where they join, just about there, and we'll chop that piece off. And again, we're going to take off some of this excess that we don't actually need.
Yes.
To make it work a lot better without a load of spare icing. We're not too much icing inside the actual cake, more just there for the decoration.
Yes.
So we'll roll that round, we'll nip them together with a bit of water to seal our joins on there. Tap that on. Okay, and then we are going to put some jam on the bottom to stick that. Okay, let's quickly swap those two bits over. And then we want a little piece of this red that's left here. We're going to use that to make a little round circle top to go on the very top of our cake, just to give you a little red roof on the top. So we'll just do that as a rough shape because we'll smooth it onto the cake. And again, last lot of this to spread, to stick it on top. Excess there, don't do too much. What we'll do is we'll pause our recording for a minute, we'll just clear this up and then we'll bring the cake over for the last bits. Right, well there we are, we've cleared up, we've brought the cake back over to here. We've had to make a small addition, we've put a little spike through the top because it's a little bit on the wobbly side and that just needs a little bit of stability in there, so we put like a cooking skewer through it just to hold the little tower together. We've also just drawn on with edible pen some lines to indicate some windows in the in where the actual light is in the lighthouse and that. So that is it, that is our lighthouse cake, all finished, and we have tried the chocolate cake along the way and it's very tasty, so hopefully we get to enjoy the cake.
Yeah.